All right, let's get into it. The idea of being lost or stranded out in the wild, it's a pretty scary thought, right? But knowing how to build a basic shelter, well, that's not just about survival. It's about taking back control. It's a skill that totally changes the dynamic, turning you from someone who's at the mercy of the elements into someone who's actively shaping their own safety. So today, we're going to break down how to build a quick, simple, and really effective lean-to shelter. Before you even start thinking about where to find your next meal or how to signal for help, there's a much more immediate threat you've got to deal with: the elements. And this quote from survival experts it lays it out perfectly. Protection comes first, always. Because honestly, without it, you might not be around long enough to worry about anything else. So here's the crucial part. A simple shelter is your absolute #1 defense against hypothermia. And that can set in way faster than you might think, even when it's not freezing out. Surviving that first critical night, it almost always comes down to one thing: getting your body out of the wind and up off the cold, damp ground. This isn't about being comfortable, not at all. This is about staying alive. Okay, so let's get our hands dirty and turn this idea into a real physical thing. We're gonna build a lean-to, which is one of the simplest and most reliable emergency shelters out there. It all starts with building a solid frame, and we can do that in 4 really clear, manageable steps. This is the moment you start to take back control. The whole process is actually incredibly logical when you break it down. First, you set up your foundation, the ridge pole. That's your main support beam. Next, you start forming the wall by leaning bigger, sturdy sticks against that pole, kind of like creating a set of ribs. The third step is key. You lay smaller sticks across those ribs to create this lattice work, like a mesh, and that mesh is what's going to hold all your insulation. And finally, you just pile on that insulation, leaves, grass, whatever you can find, to create a thick barrier that'll block the wind and cold. Just 4 steps, and you've gone from a bare frame to a functional shelter. So you've got the basic frame up. That's awesome. But we can make it even better. A couple of simple upgrades can turn a basic windbreak into a genuinely protective little space. We're going to focus on 2 things that make a huge difference: keeping yourself insulated from the ground and keeping yourself dry if it rains. Okay, this is a massive lifesaver. Seriously. The cold, hard ground will literally suck the heat right out of your body way faster than the air ever could. It's a process called conduction. But by creating a mattress, stuffing dry leave into bags, or even just into your jacket, you create a barrier of trapped air. And that trapped air is your best friend. It's what keeps your own body heat from being stolen by the earth. And here's a super simple but brilliant trick. If you think there's any chance of rain, the last thing you want is a puddle forming right where you're trying to sleep. All you have to do is scrape a shallow trench around the high side of your lean-to. It acts like a little gutter, catching any rainwater and channeling it away, keeping your sleeping spot nice and dry. All right, now for the real game changer. You've got a shelter, which is great, but you can make it so much more efficient by adding a fire and, this is the important part, a fire reflector. This simple wall does more than just block the wind. It literally turns your campfire into a personal furnace by grabbing all that heat and pointing it exactly where you need it most. Let's walk through it. You just drive 4 poles into the ground to make a frame. Then you stack logs or rocks in between them. Now, why green logs? Well, think about it. They're full of water, so they're not going to catch fire easily. This creates a really sturdy wall that's going to sit there and face your fire all night long. So, how does this simple wall pull off this little magic trick? It's just physics, really. A fire radiates heat in every direction, which means more than half of that precious warmth is usually just lost to the night sky. This reflector wall acts like a mirror. It catches all that escaping heat and bounces it straight back into your shelter, warming you, the ground, everything. You're basically getting double the heat from the exact same amount of firewood. We've been so focused on the how, but now let's talk for a minute about the why. Because building a shelter, it does so much more than just keep you warm and dry. It has this powerful psychological effect that can be just as crucial for survival as any physical comfort. I mean, really think about it for a second. In a situation where you feel completely powerless, lost, and vulnerable, what on earth could possibly be more important than just the basic physical need for warmth? The answer is purpose. The act of building something, of solving a problem, of creating a little bit of order out of all that chaos. That's what keeps your mind sharp and your spirits from sinking. When you build a shelter, you stop being someone who's just waiting to be rescued. You become someone who is actively fighting for your own survival. And that sense of purpose, that's the fuel that keeps your own internal fire burning bright. So in the end, that small structure of sticks and leaves, it becomes something much more. It's a symbol of your own ability to adapt, to improvise, and to overcome. It's proof that with a little knowledge and a little bit of work, you can face down the wilderness and create safety for yourself. And that feeling, that knowledge, well, that's the most powerful survival tool you'll ever have.